And so, this idea that uh, joy is our true nature, our conditioning comes in the way. How do we understand our body, our mind, and our heart in different ways so that we are not subject constantly to our own suffering at work? Joy is our true nature. Our conditioning comes in the way. Our conditioning comes in the way. And so, what do we do about this? How do we understand our body, our mind, and our heart in different ways so that we are not subject constantly to our own suffering at work? And I was looking at how much suffering there can be and why is it so important to talk about compassion in the context of leadership? Right? Why is this important? It's incredible how much subtle anxiety, tension, and suffering people in the workplace go through today. We've almost taken it for granted that all work will be stressful. Look at that. That's conditioning. Work will be stressful. We look at people who no longer are expressing or are finding it difficult to be socially comfortable, and we say, no, actually, he's in a very stressful job. And then the others around say, oh, that's why. We've assumed that jobs are stressful and therefore cause people to be unhappy. This is not the society that we came here to create. Um, Things like uh, disconnection at work, emotional highs and lows, feelings of anger towards colleagues. Uh, Very similar to what I said. For whatever reason, in a meeting, someone may have said something, there's been a conflict, we don't like the way someone was behaving or someone was expressing themselves, and it causes us suffering and even extreme cases at the workplace, trauma, trauma at the workplace, because a person in a position of authority did or said something that made someone feel really uncomfortable. It could be either abuse in various forms, or it could just be the trauma of a company going through a very difficult time. We don't acknowledge how difficult it is for even startups, which are scaling so fast right now. The enormous stress and pressure that a system needs to go through. Uh, and that's not wrong. Remember, we are not saying that stress is wrong or moving fast is wrong. What we are talking about is how do we respond to that? Do we accept it as a reality? As someone was saying, do we settle for it? Or can we come to a place of choice where we say, yes, I chose this job, I chose this path in my life for whatever motivations and reasons that were important to me. And yes, it is stressful and it is very difficult. Can I find eudaimonia in all of this? Can I still find my happiness through all of this? And how do we do that? That's the central premise of why compassion is important at work. It starts with ourselves. It starts with ourselves. Compassion. This is compassion. To be aware that I'm worried and I must take action. That's self compassion. Empathy is saying, oh, I see that you are worried. I see that my team member is worried. And this now comes, Lakshmi, to your question. Empathy is feeling what my other team members are going through. Now, if I lose myself in empathy, I'm going to become their emotion. And that's not helpful. We need the balance of me and the other. So I hold myself stable and I'm empathizing with your emotion. The only way I can do that is if I can deal with that emotion myself. So, this idea that I can be stable, it may mean that I take certain actions. I can choose to walk away, I can choose to raise my voice, I can choose to just be quiet. I can choose my actions. I do still feel empathy, and I don't lose myself and I don't lose my freedom to choose my response. I don't collapse. Yeah. I can still, and that's the idea of the mind and how we can shift in our mind. So, uh, this is thank you for that question because it's so important that we often see compassion as weakness. We often see happiness as weakness. And those are conditionings from our lifetime in some cultures that, hey, don't be too kind now, he'll take advantage of you. Uh, and so we become very stern. Whereas it's important to know that compassion can mean tough action.